Good morning, students. Today we are going to study the second point of observations on tragedy by Aristotle after the origin of the tragedy. Today we are going to focus on the characteristics of tragedy. In the previous class, we have discussed the origin of tragedy, how the tragedy originated according to Aristotle in his text Poetics. What he has mentioned that we have discussed. How from poetry and its particular genres like epic, satire, comedy, tragedy aroused, tragedy existed or became superior form of literature than its sister and parent forms. And the very information we have seen how Aristotle very well clears in the Poetics, because Poetics is a text of 50 pages and 26 chapters, but it gives more space to the tragedy. So, 14 chapters out of 26 discuss the tragedy and the views of Aristotle on it. So, what are the characteristics of tragedy? Or we can simply say to the salient features of tragedy. According to Francis Aristotle, the well known Greek philosopher, we will simply say step by step. After origin, today we will study characteristics, then we will study the constituent parts of the tragedy. After that, the structure of the plot, then simple and complex plot, and finally 6 point issue, the tragic hero. So, today we will simply discuss the characteristics of tragedy after its origin. First, Aristotle simply said what is meant by tragedy, and in his word we will simply discuss first. According to Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, philosopher and the writer of poetics and rhetoric simply say tragedy is tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude. This is the simple, ideal definition of tragedy Aristotle puts in front of us. So, simply look at this definition, there is nothing difficult, just some words are new to us, but serious you know. Complete means the completeness and certain magnitude. Magnitude means एका वैभवाची ideal greatness must be there, not a common lower like that. So, according to Aristotle, tragedy means is an imitation of an action. एखाद्याच्या जीवनाची ॲक्शन्स आपण इमिटेट करतो, ती कशी असली पाहिजे, सिरियस असली पाहिजे, पूर्ण आली पाहिजे आणि एका उच्च वैभवाची असली पाहिजे, म्हणजे वरच्या आयडियल लेवलची असली पाहिजे. म्हणून इमिटेशन, सिरियस, कंप्लीट, सर्टेन मॅग्निट्यूड, हे 4 शब्द लक्षात ठेवा. After that, his focus is on the language we use in the tragedy, and he says language embellished with language embellished with each type of artistic ornament. Language must be full with artistic ornament. You might have heard the word ornament means full with figures of speech. So, the language must be embellished with, full with, complete with, used with artistic ornament. After imitation of an action which must be serious, second complete, and then third of a certain magnitude, the language which we use after the imitation, that must be of or full with artistic ornament. That Francis Bacon says after the definition and the use of language for the tragedy in the second issue of characteristics of tragedy. He further says and comments on the action. After the language, his focus is on action. How the action must be, or the action for the tragedy, he says, through pity and fear. It must be through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation. Purgation means purification of mind, thought, idea. Purification of these emotions. Look, after the language, he expects it must be full with artistic ornament. Then he says action. Action, how? It must be through pity and fear. Whenever one the tragic hero and its plot is going to enact or play in front of the audience, that time the situation and overall atmosphere, it must be full with pity, and the atmosphere, the nature of that hero who performs that role, he must be a very fearful. And when we look at the hero on the stage, we must feel pity for him, sympathy for him. त्याच्यासाठी आपल्याला दया वाटली पाहिजे, आणि त्याच्यासोबत जे घडतं ते आपल्यासोबत कदाचित घडू नये याची एकदम आपल्याला भीती वाटते. भीती अँड फिअर इफेक्टिंग द प्रॉपर परगेशन मीन्स ॲट दॅट टाईम वी प्युरिफाय आवर माइंड. आपल्या भावना व्यक्त करतो ऑफ दीज इमोशन्स that I told you the emotions. So, after the language, after the action, Aristotle talks about the action. It must be how the action, according to Aristotle, must be serious action. And what the serious action mean? Serious action. Serious action means, he says, tale of suffering, exciting pity and fear. A tale of suffering, exciting tale of suffering, exciting pity and fear. So, look at this serious action. He talks about action, then the serious action. He says the action which the actor, character, the tragic hero performs on the stage, it must be a tale of suffering. Suffering means one suffer. How? एखाद्याच्या जीवनाची शोकांतिका, समस्या, जे सांगितल्यानंतर आपल्या मनामध्ये त्याच्याबद्दल दया वाटतं आणि भीती पण वाटते. एकंदरीत ह्यालाच सिरियस ॲक्शन म्हणतो. अ टेल ऑफ सफरिंग विच एक्साइट्स, एक्साइट मीन्स अरोजेस इन आवर माइंड when we look at the seriousness of that action, of the sufferings that we look, listen in the form of a tale. Tale means the story of the life of the tragic hero full with suffering which excites pity and fear. That is called the serious section according to Aristotle. So, the serious action means what or what it comprises. सिरियस ॲक्शन म्हणजे काय दडलेलं असतं त्याच्यामध्ये, कशाला म्हणतो. सिरियस ॲक्शन अकॉर्डिंग टू एरिस्टॉटल comprises all human activities. Serious actions comprises all human activities, movements, deeds, like deeds, thoughts, deeds, thoughts and feelings. Feelings. So, these are the serious actions. म्हणजेच all human activities, movements that are called the deeds. Deeds म्हणजे work, deeds, duties. Then thoughts which we thought. Then the feelings of the man, nature that he expresses. So, that is also come and correlated with the tragedy, because tragedy is a broader term and in the very definition what we have seen, heard, that step by step language, action comprises that are the correlative part which makes the tragedy tale of suffering serious, complete, of a certain magnitude, and the overall imitation of the tragic hero's life makes this action, language, serious occasion components or comprising things. After he says, in tragedy, action should be complete. Action should be complete or self-contained or self-contained with the beginning, middle or end. It must have the proper beginning, proper middle and proper end. So, the audience from the beginning, the middle and the end, they will clear cut understand what happened with that man, and really they observe it, and they also one by one observe its action, seriousness, pity and fear, magnitude. It must, because if we directly present the middle, the audience couldn't understand and they confuse that, think that what should be the beginning, and they couldn't get the link of the tragedy. So, it must have a proper beginning with the ideal, glorious, prosperous life of that hero, then his middle, and then it means, for example, we have number of ideal examples of the tragic heroes. For example, take the example of William Shakespeare's great tragedies, King Lear, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Othello, and so on. When the story begins, we see that King Lear was a king. He was glorious, prosperous, having three daughters, wealth, everything. And after that, when everything goes smoothly, one day he takes the decision of dividing his kingdom into his three daughters respectively, and he put one condition that who among the three appreciates him more, he will get the more fortune part. And happened that first comes appreciates the more, second comes appreciate again more than the first one, but the third, Cordelia, simply says what father has done, instead appreciate like the first and second sister. So, King Lear became very furious and he expelled him from the kingdom without giving a small fortune of his estate also. This is the middle. And when we come to the end, we see that when King Lear has divided his fortune into the two daughters respectively, what happened? Some days he stays with the first one, with the second one some days, and in the course of time what happened? His two daughters has less his staff of his courtiers one by one. If he has initially 100 courtiers, then he goes to the second one, she says, father, why you are keeping these 100 soldiers, courtiers or staff? You just less it. And this way, finally he remained alone, one, and when the first and second daughter doesn't care for his existence, being a father, being once upon a time he was a king, he finally came on the road and he was begging for living, and so finally when he was begging and begging, he came across the third expelled daughter Cordelia, and on her shoulders at her home he ended his life. It means that from the beginning to the end, we have observed the King Lear. The same in the case of, we can take it, the story of Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. Then we have the example of Julius Caesar, then Othello, and so on. So, Aristotle's stress emphasis is on the tragedy should be complete, then only you will came to know that what happened after the end. Tragedy means the death of the ideal, superior, glorious man who was good by nature, noble and ideal. So, his end makes us emotional, and so it must have end, then only we will understand. It must have beginning, so we will understand what he was and how he became now, and this way the middle gives the turn to it. So, he says action should be complete or self contained with the beginning, middle and end. After that, what I just said you, the beginning, middle and end, these three things are very important for the tragedy. The beginning means, according to Aristotle, when we came into the theatre or when we see on the screen or when we read, at that time the beginning we are totally unaware about it. When we came in the stage, when we read, at that time only we must know the beginning, which audience or the reader does not need to be told anything to understand the story. Only the audience, the reader, spectator see it from the beginning minutely. That is the beginning which we need not to told him earlier. One thing, or to understand the story on behalf of their conscience, they can go through it. Further, Aristotle focus on the completeness or complete tragedy means what? Complete tragedy according to Aristotle means which have organic unity or natural sequence, which have organic unity, or we can say the natural sequence of actions, how they move, how the story move after one actions and its progress or development. Natural sequence of events. Completeness means organic unity or natural sequence of events that cannot be disturbed, that cannot be disturbed means slowly, naturally, once the story plot begins, it must be naturally go on and go on. Natural sequence of the events that cannot be disturbed. For example, action, the play when it started, it must have what I just told you, it must have the beginning naturally without any obstacle. Beginning, it must have its natural middle, and finally it must have natural end when it started. So, according to Aristotle, the completeness or complete tragedy means it must have the organic unity and the natural sequence of events that cannot be disturbed. Means the action have the beginning, middle and end. After this action, Aristotle comes to the plot. Plot means the soul of the tragedy, Kathanak, and his focus on the plot, how the plot must be. According to Aristotle, he says a plot should have certain magnitude. We have also discussed it in the definition in the earlier. Certain magnitude means of such magnitude type. एक उच्च वैभवाची असली पाहिजे. Everybody gets or must create keen interest in that plot naturally. So, it must of certain magnitude or a reasonable length. When it talks about the length of the plot of the tragedy, he says it must be reasonable. After the magnitude, it must be reasonable such as the mind may comprehend fully in one view or within the required time. Reasonable length means one can simply understand within the given or reasonable time. For example, what happens if one play, one tragedy, one episode, if you put for 8 hours, what happens? Everybody couldn't get the 8 hours time to observe it. So, the plot of the tragedy, it must be of the reasonable length, though it may be of certain magnitude. So, each and everyone within the given time easily understand its beginning, middle and end. If we have the longer plot, what happens within the given time, our mind couldn't recollect, store, identify, understand all the things. Then what happens? If the plot is so longer, we may miss many things. And further he says, the plot must be of the reasonable length. Reasonable length, it means not more, not less. If the plot becomes so less, so short, then what happens? The audience couldn't understand many things from the short plot. So, plot must be of certain magnitude and of a reasonable length, not more or not less. It means the plot of the tragedy neither too long nor too short. Plot of the tragedy according to Aristotle neither too long nor too short. Too long, too short, it must be just in proportion. एक आइडियल असला पाहिजे. Just in proportion. एक ideal time is required. Nowadays, we can simply watch movies. Just in 2 hours, we go easily understand the beginning, middle and end within a given time and without any boredom, without any missing of that plot, we simply grasp, understand, store and come out happily. So, that is the plot neither too long or not too short, is it must be of the proper proportion. One thing. What happens? Just I told you, if the plot is too long, mind may miss many things. If the plot is so short, mind couldn't guess or everything within the short and limited time. This is little bit about the plot, its length and its certain magnitude like this. About this length of the plot, again Aristotle says a length of the plot, a length which can be easily embraced by the memory. Here he talks about the length. He says a length which can be easily embraced by the memory means we can easily understand and